So I wonder, especially as a younger-ish Canadian, if there was more focus on prevention instead of reaction, if that
Mhm,
could be a solution to
mhm.
some of those wait lists.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and the wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How they how how showing different cultures. So I think that traveling is a good way to enrich your professional career. Definitely, that trip changed your life, right?
Hmm.
You didn't
Absolutely.
know you didn't know that's gonna happen. You just went for a trip for a university, but clearly changed your life and it will make you happen, right?
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful for that experience because I love what I do, and I see that providing options that are right in the middle of that care and providing options in general for patients really is able to provide an aspect of care that is unique and can really support people in healing from certain conditions that are perhaps overlooked in other professions.
You take traveling time to time, or now you're taking it easy. Mhm.
Yeah, so I was just in Greece with my husband and three children
It's
in
amazing.
October. Oh, it was fabulous.
Ali, yeah, that is amazing as well. The different culture,
Yeah,
including the yeah. I've been in Canada. My original, my first book. I lived there, and I went there in January, and I never seen so much snow in my life.
no,
So, oh my God, that was a completely unique experience, right? Apparently, I went there in the month that more snow was. And oh my God, it was I will never forget. So you always learn. When you learn different things with different people, so uh, being exposed to a global knowledge, okay,
exactly.
and cultures and shape who you are. So what are the point of view of your colleagues that doing traditional medicine?
Do conventional medicine?
Hear that the
Yeah,
other your fellow colleagues, right? That they don't like that approach that you take it. They say, well, I know that you're doing it and it's fine with you, but I will never do that. I only will do it in the traditional way. This is what I was taught in the university, and it's very
yes,
risky. You don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't be doing that. So what
yes.
mess? How you deal with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's changed over time. When I
They can
first
tell you you can be
graduated,
sued. They tell you you can be sued. You
mhm,
can be in trouble for this, and now you are like. But I know that this is good for the patient, and that you have society, right?
yeah, and like I said, it's changing. So when I first graduated 14 years ago, there was much more contention, I would say, between in my experience in the city where I work. It's also, I would say, location dependent, but I had the good benefit or the beautiful benefit of working alongside medical doctors for the first 8 years of my career, where we were much more integrated, I would say, than exists in our city right now. Um, it depends on the place, though. So, if for example, you in Florida, I believe naturopathic medicine only recently, like within the last couple of weeks, became a regulated profession in Florida. It's much harder if someone is, speaking with an unregulated professional. Regulation is sort of the standard around the world that I would say that allows healthcare providers to speak to each other in an appropriate way. But I would argue that as we see more and more data coming out and more research to really support the benefits of all types of therapy, um, I expect that that gap will continue to become smaller and smaller. So where I practice now, I just 2 nights ago was meeting with a group of medical doctors that want to collaborate on longevity, midlife health, urobiome health, healthcare prevention. I think we're at a point in healthcare and medicine where we can see that not everybody has all of the answers for everybody's needs, right? I certainly don't. Naturopathic medicine certainly doesn't. I think conventional medicine also doesn't have all of the answers. And so really it's that middle ground where we can look at what is this patient, what are their symptoms, what are they suffering from, and what are the tools that we have data and research to show are best supportive in that case.
About the development of AI, do you think that this has been helping to the development of alternative medicine?
Absolutely. I'm really excited about AI. I have a colleague in Ontario who's built essentially an AI search engine for data, specifically for naturopathic doctors. But it allows us to pull the data and have good concrete studies that are supportive of the therapies that we recommend. I think one of the misunderstandings of naturopathic medicine is that we're not evidence-based, or that the therapies that we recommend are not evidence-based or don't have research behind them. The company that I'm speaking about is called The Confident Clinician, and they've done a really incredible job of showing the data that supports the therapies we recommend, but also that it's AI harnessed, so it's accessible.
Okay, someone is in love with this conversation, how people can find you, how this process works?
So I have two businesses. I have Clementine Natural Health, which is located in Vancouver, BC, Canada. As I am a regulated healthcare professional, my team and I can only see people and patients that reside within the province of British Columbia. So for anyone that's in British Columbia or feels like traveling here, Clementine Natural Health is the way to access care that way. And through our business as a healthcare provider, I can prescribe, I can order lab work, etc., through the clinic. My second business is the Akehurst protocol, and I developed this so that patients could have access to my knowledge on chronic and recurrent UTIs. I could provide the information that I provide in visits with patients in an accessible way from anywhere around the world. So the Akehurst protocol provides all the information that I do, all the recommendations that I give to patients within my one-to-one visits at my clinic, but in a way that anybody from outside of British Columbia can access. Through that, I cannot prescribe and I cannot order lab work, but I can make recommendations for a patient to speak to a healthcare provider in their own community to secure those prescriptions or secure that lab work as necessary.
Okay, still in the health care of healthcare, right? Still we need to do a lot of I would say improvements, okay, in how we see things. Okay, because this is my opinion. For example, you pay an insurance, okay, and then when you get sick, you pay, right? This is how it works. But how about if we can turn this around, and so you pay when you're healthy, and when you're sick, it's free. So then, if it does the issue, then everybody will be making sure that you never get sick, right? So the prescriptions, everybody will be more open to the solution, because now you're making money keeping the people healthy, right? So let's explore more alternative medicine. Let's try to do this. Let's keep everybody healthy, right? But then the system is designed, unfortunately, like, okay, you get sick, now you pay. And so it seems that you're getting sick, the institutional movement. That's from one side. On the other side, we have the systems like in Spain and Canada, right, which is it's free to go to the doctor in London. We have that also at some point, but you face the challenges of waiting. Uh, I have a friend that in London was waiting a lot to get an operation. I said, man, you're waiting so many months. I said, well, there's a waiting list. You have to wait an hour. And so what is the perfect healthcare system that you envision for the future?
I think that's really the $1,000,000 question, probably $1,000,000,000 question at this point. I think that there can be a blend of both worlds. I'm a born and raised Canadian. I am very passionate about having a healthcare system that supports all people in our country. I agree wait lists are an issue. Access to primary care is an issue in Vancouver. And a lot of our healthcare providers are overworked and undersupported. And so it's certainly not a perfect system. I also feel that there's a lot that can be done on a preventative medicine standpoint and a general health standpoint. So right now, the way that the system works in my community is we provide essentially reactionary medicine. There's not a lot of time or space within clinic visits or a clinician schedule to talk about how do we prevent disease, how do we prevent illness. We know that, for example, the Mediterranean diet, so shifting to a more Mediterranean diet can have lifelong benefits, but currently there's not a lot of time and space to have that discussion with a patient in a visit within our public healthcare system. We do have access to dietitians, but it's not a common experience, I would say. So, for example, I think changing diet or exercise encouragement, and as you say, potentially a system where you pay with your health when you're healthy, but you don't when you're sick, when you need that care. I think that the way that the system is currently set up in Canada, we do some things incredibly well. So if you have a car accident and you need trauma surgery, we do that very well. If you have a life-threatening cardiac event, we have some of the best cardiology services in the world. But there are other aspects of the system where we know, for example, we're not meeting our timelines for cancer diagnosis, testing, and treatment. And so I wonder, especially as a younger-ish Canadian, if there was more focus on prevention instead of reaction, if that could be a solution to some of those wait lists.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.